I'm pregnant with the villain's baby. In a tragic novel, offending the villain is never a good thing. Running away is the best strategy. After traveling the world with the baby in my belly, I still had to return home for surgery, but the villainous boss is already on his way to capture me. It seems I have no choice but to fight with my back against the wall. I've transmigrated into a tragic masterpiece of a novel. The male and female leads are trapped in a love they can't have, suffering endlessly. And me, just an ordinary supporting female character, I was the spark that ignited their tormented love affair. I had just finished reading the book and was about to water the succulents at home. The moment I crouched down, I transmigrated into the story. The system said if I successfully complete the mission of triggering the deep, tragic love between the male and female leads, I can go back. My task is to have a fling with the male lead who entered the wrong room, only to be caught by the female lead in the hotel. Heartbroken, the female lead gets into a car accident right after leaving. In his rage, the male lead accidentally pushes me off the building. I have fulfilled my mission, but plans didn't keep up with changes. The male lead who was supposed to come in didn't show up. Looking at the completely unfamiliar man's face, I jumped out of bed in fright. His features seemed meticulously sculpted, and at first glance, one might mistake him for being of mixed heritage. Those who stay at this hotel are either wealthy or influential, people I might not want to provoke. The wind blew through the window, lifting my nearly transparent lace camisole nightgown, leaving little to the imagination. I quickly ducked back under the covers, stammering in panic. I'm not, that's quite interesting. He casually picked up the glass of red wine on the table and downed it in one gulp. That wine, it's drugged. Before I could utter a word, the world spun violently around me. Consciousness flickers between clarity, it's over, and haziness. If it's over, then it's over. The next morning, I glanced at the man sleeping soundly on the bed, with his chiseled features and smooth, fair skin. He looked like a sculpture come to life. Yet, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't recall who he was. I dressed quietly and tiptoed out of the room, carefully closing the door behind me. Turning around, I bumped into the shocked female lead. Wendy, Jenny, why are you coming out of Lucas's room? I pondered for 2 seconds. That name, I couldn't help but raise my voice. Who did you say? Lucas. I had the misfortune of skimming the ending. The tragedy of this story lies in how Lucas tormented both the male and female leads to death, make them love each other but never be together, breaking up and making up repeatedly. I'm insane. I provoked him. Immediately took off my high heels and sprinted toward the elevator. For the next few months, I cancelled all work and social engagements. I hope Lucas forgets about me completely. I'm terrified that any further interaction might make him recognize and remember me. After all, only dying by the male lead's hand counts as death. Only then can I return. What if I die at the hands of the villainous supporting male character? I'd be utterly annihilated. The succulents at home haven't been watered for a long time. Lucas is a madman, but few knew it at the beginning of the novel. After all, he's elegant and aloof towards everyone, like an emotionless NPC. At first, no one really noticed him. He only made a hurried appearance when the female lead got into a car accident. One moment he seems deeply affectionate towards the female lead. The next he abandons her on a foreign street in the rain, forcing her to chase after his car. But when it comes to the male lead, he truly goes for the kill, not only suppressing him at every turn but also deliberately keeping him close, subjecting him to constant torment. Truly the reincarnation of the Queen Mother of the West. It must be said, the suffering of this star-crossed couple stems entirely from their acquaintance with Lucas. I'm not like them, I have to go back. But these past few days, I've been constantly feeling nauseous, dizzy, and vomiting. I'm afraid I might have a terminal illness. I can't really die here, can I? I rushed to the hospital. I held the test results confirming my pregnancy and fell into deep thought. I need to find a way to pin this baby on the male lead, Charles. That way, Wendy will storm off in anger, and Charles will seek revenge for love. Then I can go back to watering my succulents. Lost in thought, I looked up and saw Charles and Wendy coming out of the examination room, holding the test results and being all lovey-dovey. Jenny, what are you doing here? Are you pregnant too? Charles asked me with concern. After all, I'm his cousin who grew up with him since childhood. I was completely out of it. Yeah, yours. He looked furious. What nonsense are you talking about? Wendy, upon hearing about my pregnancy, started shrieking uncontrollably. "What? You're pregnant? Isn't that Lucas's child? What did you say?" The three of us turned around in unison and saw Lucas standing not far away. He was wearing frameless glasses, and the perfectly fitted dark blue suit made him appear noble and aloof. "Help me, why is he here?" I swallowed hard and forced an awkward laugh, explaining, "Just kidding, haha." He pulled me closer and asked through gritted teeth in a voice only we could hear, "You sleep with me and then run? What do you take me for?" "Of course. I take you as a failed setup." Wendy looked at him with disdain. "What are you doing here?" The two of them were cousins who had grown up together since childhood, but they never got along and often ended up arguing. "Grandma is in the hospital. I came to visit," he explained impatiently. The Miller family's grandmother was very kind. Hearing that Wendy was pregnant, I was overjoyed and urged them to hurry up with the wedding. I frowned slightly to myself. This won't do. In the book, they never got married. Lucas seemed to notice the change in my expression and glanced at me. Wendy replied smugly, "Grandma, we're completely above board and will definitely hold the wedding as soon as possible. Who are you insinuating about?" I widened my eyes and glared at her. Lucas snapped as if his tail had been stepped on. "Above board with a pregnancy before marriage. Hurry up and plan your lousy wedding, otherwise the dress won't fit when the belly gets bigger." Seeing them about to argue again, Charles quickly pulled Wendy away, afraid his precious fiancée might get upset. Grandma Miller smiled and held my wrist. "You two should hurry up too." Lucas turned his head away without speaking. I looked shocked. "No, Grandma, we..." Before I could finish, Lucas pulled me away. "Got it, Grandma, what do you know?" As soon as I stepped out, he cornered me, his gaze fierce. Only two words echoed in my mind. "It's over, it's over. Where's your diagnosis report?" he asked. I forced a laugh and tried to move. "Heh, just sleep deprivation and hormonal imbalance." He stared at me expressionlessly, his tone as cold as winter lake water. "Hand it over." I deeply felt the intimidating aura of the ultimate villain boss and shakily rummaged through my bag. As I searched, I realized something seemed off. This bag didn't seem to be mine. Today, both Wendy and I were carrying white bags. I suddenly looked up, remembering that when Charles ran off, he must have taken my bag from the chair. I cautiously whispered, "If I said it was a case of mistaken bags, would you believe me?" He raised an eyebrow. "I'll have Charles return the bag, and then you'll go for another checkup, double insurance." Lucas sat on the chair outside, opened his laptop, and began working while waiting for the results. I was escorted to get checked, and it's certain that I'm pregnant. I know it's Lucas's, but Lucas might not be sure it's his. After the examination, I sat beside him and whispered, "Is there a chance this child isn't yours?" He smiled at me, his eyes pitch black, his tone as cold as -30 degrees. "We'll know once the DNA test is done after the birth." I forced a dry laugh. "Makes sense. I'll go to the restroom first." The most considerate feature of this hospital was that the restroom was right next to the staircase at the corner. I dashed downstairs in one breath, hailed a taxi, and headed straight for the airport. Called the secretary and have her immediately buy me an outbound flight ticket, and bring my passport and visa along as well. Lying in the first-class seat, my survival-driven heart finally found a moment of peace. After a 13-hour flight, I arrived in the U.S. First, I'll get rid of the baby, then head to Hawaii for 2 months of recuperation, wait until Lucas forgets about me, then I'll return to China. He actually wants me to keep the baby. How ridiculous. How am I supposed to go back then? My succulents still need watering. Besides, with Lucas being such a ruthless villain who keeps women at arm's length, who knows if he'd keep the child and discard the mother. That time at the Alaskan casino, he made Wendy chase his car for 5 kilometers in the pouring rain. It left me with quite the psychological scar. This man is even more vicious than I am. The moment the plane landed, my phone was already blowing up with calls. I had already told my secretary about taking a 3-month leave, planning to turn off my phone and play dead. It's amazing. Once I arrived in the U.S., all my pregnancy symptoms disappeared. I put on my sunglasses and drove myself to the scheduled private hospital. After a series of examinations, the doctor informed me that abortion is prohibited in the U.S. Frustrated, I turned on my phone, thinking it was my secretary, and answered the call. "What's going on?" "This hospital says they can't perform an abortion. You want an abortion, Jenny? Get back here right now. Lucas has kidnapped Charles, saying if he can't find you, he'll make him pay with his life. Wendy was hysterically freaking out on the other end of the phone. I called Lucas to try and mediate. Wendy is still pregnant, don't provoke her. Can you let Charles go first? He answered the phone with a cold snort. Has the baby been aborted yet? No, you didn't say anything, so I didn't dare to abort it. I replied very sincerely, is that so? Then who made that abortion appointment for you in Washington? I'll kill him. His voice was eerily calm, as if rising from the depths to claim a life. Help, of course I made the appointment myself. I pressed the wrong button. Isn't American healthcare more advanced? Better for the baby? I stammered an explanation. Do you really wish this child was Charles's? His tone darkened. This child really isn't his. If it is, would you still abort it? He pressed relentlessly. Of course. I answered without hesitation. This child was never meant to exist in the first place, and I never intended to keep it. I don't believe you. Then why the hell are you asking, dude? I had just stepped out of the hospital when Lucas's secretary and bodyguard were already waiting at the door. Madam, Mr. Lucas wants you to stay in the U.S. for your pregnancy and give birth here first, he said, opening the car door for me. I nodded repeatedly, smiling politely. All right, wait a moment. I need to use the restroom. That's right, pulling the same trick again. Lucas's secretary and bodyguards probably didn't expect me to dare to run away a second time. Miss, your visa for Denmark is the only one that hasn't expired yet. Abortion is legal in Denmark. Get the plane tickets now. I sped toward the airport. I've made up my mind. Wendy is pregnant now, so I definitely can't actually harm her. I can only deceive Charles and provoke him into killing me. I'll go to Denmark first to get rid of the baby. As long as this child isn't aborted, Lucas will haunt me like a vengeful ghost, refusing to leave me alone. To prevent any accidents, I'll head straight to the hospital as soon as I get off the plane, handing the test results from the American private hospital to the doctor. I demanded the fastest possible abortion. The Danish doctor rambled on in Danish, so I turned to look at the translator I had hired at a rate of 20,000 per hour. After listening, she turned back and said just 9 words to me. Over 12 weeks, abortion is prohibited. I closed my eyes in agony. Fine, just perfect. The lingering hope in my heart was finally extinguished. Wendy called. Jenny, Lucas already knows you're in Denmark. He's on his way. You're on your own now. Crying, as expected of the female lead. Still thinking of warning the cannon fodder supporting character at a time like this. If he catches you, Charles can be released, whatever. A love-struck brain is beyond saving. After traveling around the world with this child, I had no choice but to return to the country to terminate the pregnancy, but Lucas was already on his way to catch me. I decided to fight with my back against the wall. Yes, right, termination of pregnancy, here. I paid 800,000 to have a fake miscarriage diagnosis forged. What's the difference between this and outright robbery? Just as the stamp was pressed, Lucas barged in, instantly. Cold sweat broke out on my back, matching the exhaustion on my face from flying non-stop and rushing to the hospital. It looked exactly like I had just undergone an abortion. The baby was lost. I kept my head down, not daring to look at him, bracing myself for the storm that was sure to come. Without even glancing at the diagnosis report, he walked straight over, pulled me into his arms, and kissed my forehead. Rest well. I'll take you back home next week. Then he instructed the secretary and nutritionist he had brought to take good care of me before hurrying off. What's going on? Is that it? Damn it, Jenny, tell Lucas to let me out. Wendy is calling me and going crazy again. What's wrong? I'm baffled and a little guilty for no reason. He wants me to have the baby and give it to you guys to raise. What kind of lunatic is he? Can't keep his own child, so he's stealing someone else's. Is there no justice left in this world? I should have just let you bury him back then. Why did you even save him? She is screaming curses over the phone. I'm stunned. When did I ever save Lucas? All these years I've been playing the supporting villainess, diligently and meticulously scheming to get close to Charles and Wendy, working every day to break them up and sow discord between them. Who has time to do good deeds? I remember now, there was only one accident. Wendy was on her way to school in the morning, and I lied to her that Charles was waiting for her at the intersection. She stood there waiting miserably for 2 hours, missing 2 whole classes, but no one ever showed up. I gleefully ran to tell her that Charles had forgotten about her while chatting with another girl, but a speeding bicycle suddenly crashed into us, sending the rider tumbling into an uncovered manhole nearby. The midday sun blazed overhead as everyone stayed indoors for lunch, leaving the streets completely deserted. Both Wendy and I had blood on our legs. Fortunately, the well had long been abandoned and fallen into disrepair. I crawled over and saw that it was filled with accumulated dirt. The boy's face was covered in blood, unconscious. "Hey, wake up," I shouted. The well opening wasn't deep, just over a meter high. The pain from the wound on my leg had numbed, so I simply jumped down. I wiped the blood off his face haphazardly with my clothes. Hoisting him up, I tried to push him out. "Wendy, come help." She limped over and helped pull him onto the road. Standing by the roadside, blood was still gushing from my leg. One moment, I was saying, "Wendy, why is the blood still flowing from my leg?" The next moment, I fainted from excessive blood loss. This matter was settled privately because Wendy said the one who hit us was her cousin, and he almost got disfigured, so my impression of Lucas remained that of an ordinary-looking high school boy. Who would have thought that his disfigurement turned into plastic surgery, and he grew up to become a handsome villainous CEO. I was taken back to his house by Lucas. As soon as I entered, I saw Charles. "Your wife is back. So can I go find my wife now?" Charles roared at Lucas the moment he saw him, looking as if he'd been driven mad by confinement. For some reason, Lucas showed no reaction at all. Instead, he seemed almost cheerful, giving Charles a dismissive glance. "Get lost." I was stunned. "Your wife?" "Yes, let's get the marriage certificate first. The wedding is still being prepared." Charles hasn't been idle these past few days. Having mostly arranged the wedding, this is really the end. How did a perfectly good angst-filled story stop being angsty? These two protagonists actually went behind my back and got their marriage certificate. I sat on the sofa, utterly dejected. Lucas noticed something was off with me, his face immediately darkening. "Are you really this upset about Charles getting married?" He moved closer, exuding a dangerous aura that warned others to stay away. I quickly explained. "I really don't like Charles. Their marriage is a good thing." "Then why are you upset?" "It's my own business, you wouldn't understand." I brushed it off carelessly. He paused for a long moment before suddenly speaking. "The baby's gone, we could still get married." It wasn't until things reached this point that I belatedly realized Lucas might have feelings for me. As soon as I returned to the country, my pregnancy symptoms became severe. While I was still struggling to find ways to keep it hidden, Lucas went missing. 3 whole days. I asked Wendy, and she said she had blocked Lucas, afraid he might try to take the child. Even the housekeeper had no idea where Lucas had gone. No one around could reach him. I went to his company and was told by the secretary that Lucas hadn't been there for a long time, and he rarely came in general. I felt a bit disappointed. It seems I don't really know him, nor do I know where to find him. Unlike him, who could chase me all over the world. The only connections between him and me, apart from Wendy and Charles, are probably the baby in my belly. I couldn't help but touch my stomach. It's time for a prenatal checkup. Upon arriving at the hospital, I suddenly remembered there's also Grandma from the Miller family. Grandma still spoke to me with a beaming smile. The doctor said Grandma has basically recovered and can be discharged after a few more days of observation. She patted the back of my hand and said emotionally, "Our Lucas is finally bringing home the girl he loves. Oh my, he adored you so much. When you were little, he'd always want to hold you the moment he saw you, and was most afraid of you crying." "I don't remember that. You were just 2 years old then, fair and chubby, while he was 4.5, mischievous as can be. Whatever tasty treats he got, he always shared half with his little sister." Grandma rambled on, recounting countless childhood memories. "Grandma, but I can't find Lucas anymore," I said somewhat dejectedly. "You two loved playing hide-and-seek as kids too. He always hid in the same spot. Go look again. I think I've figured out where he is." After leaving the hospital, I hailed a taxi, arrived at the hotel entrance. As soon as I approached the front desk, the staff handed me the key card. "Miss Jenny, your room key." I swiped the room card open. Surprise. Wow, super big surprise. A room full of people. Wendy and Charles were there too. The sky is filled with fragments of fireworks. The ground is covered with roses and balloons. What's going on? A marriage proposal scene. I was ushered into the center of the main hall. Lucas was dressed very formally. He knelt down on one knee, opened the ring box in his hand, and asked me with devout eyes, "Jenny, will you marry me?" No surprises here. Once again, I fled in panic. If the plot continues like this, does that mean I'll never be able to go back in this lifetime? Unexpectedly, the next day, Lucas was seen dating a famous actress in the newspaper. Great, just great, proposing one day. Moving on to the next spring the following day, I've turned dark. Now I'm a ruthless, emotionless villainess. I'm going to have an abortion, kidnap Wendy and provoke Charles into killing me. I need to go back and water the succulents. I'm going to kidnap you. I barged into Wendy's house. Why tie me up? It's not like I'm the one dating a celebrity. Wendy was baffled, not missing the chance to throw in a sarcastic remark. I glared at her. I want to go home. She grinned and glanced at my stomach. Didn't you get rid of the baby? Why is your belly getting bigger? I gritted my teeth and retorted, I gained weight. If I tell Charles that I got rid of your child, would he kill me? He would. Charles peeked his head out from behind a tray of food. I forgot these two are married and living together. You're so angry. What are you mad about? Wendy chimed in, thoroughly enjoying the drama. I forced a smile. I'm not angry. Why would I be? It's just that some people are hypocritical and unworthy of being my child's father. I'll have an abortion, find another man, and get pregnant again. I asked my secretary to schedule an abortion for me, only to be told I could only have an induced labor. Abortion it is. I took the appointment to have the doctor perform the procedure for me. Here's the pre-op check. The fetus is already fully formed and very healthy. Are you sure you want to proceed with the abortion? I froze. Unknowingly, I've been carrying this child for over 4 months now. Please sign here if you're certain. I picked up the pen, feeling somewhat dazed. The sudden ringing of my phone startled me, and I hastily put down the pen, inexplicably relieved. Jenny, Lucas was in a car accident. He's bleeding heavily. Come quickly. Wendy's voice was frantic with urgency. When I arrived at the hospital, I saw Lucas lying unconscious. It overlapped with the memory of that unconscious boy in the mine shaft. The doctor said the injuries weren't serious and he would wake up in a few days. I sat by the bed, gazing at his clear, handsome face, his sleeping form like a fallen god. The more I watched, the angrier I got. And I started cursing. Lucas, do you know what karma is? Just yesterday, you were pretending to be all affectionate and proposing, and the next day, you're exposed for dating a celebrity. As I cursed, I ended up crying on top of him. Do you even like me or not? If you don't like me, why won't you let me abort this child? Why propose? Why keep pestering me? Celebrities can give you children too, but celebrities aren't Jenny. I only like Jenny. He weakly raised his hand to pat my head. Wendy taught me how to piss you off. Hearing this, my tears stopped. And I gritted my teeth, saying, you bastard. Wendy said if you got angry, it means you care about me. Seems it's true, he said with a smile. Why are you hurt? I snapped. Wendy said you were going for an induced abortion. I was so anxious that I ran a red light while driving. You knew I never got rid of this child. That private Danish hospital was built with my investment, my 800,000. The money's been transferred to your account. Lucas and I went home together. One to recuperate from pregnancy, the other to recover from injuries. The male and female leads came over to take care of us, no other reason, just 80,000. Must not forget the essence of a tragic story. Brutalize the main couple. Jenny, how could you have the nerve to make one pregnant woman take care of another? I raised my chin proudly. I've always been wicked by nature. She laughed after hearing it. Where's the wickedness? Since childhood, you've been fluttering around like a moth. Back and forth between me and Charles. I was just trying to move the plot along. You remember my preferences better than Charles does. I was just trying to stir things up between you two better. Let's be each other's child's godmother, since you're my only best friend. Wait, what nonsense is she spouting here? Best friend? Are we good friends? In real life, I've never had any friends. That's why I'm so addicted to all kinds of novels. The reason I keep thinking about that pot of succulents. It was also because of that day when I went out and met an old man setting up a stall. At first glance, I saw it topped with an inconspicuous little white flower. Succulents rarely bloom, you know, take it home to keep you company, the old man said to me with a smile as he peddled his wares. Yeah, I usually don't even have anyone to talk to, buying it would at least give me someone to chat with, just like that. I bought that pot of succulent. The stall owner said it only needed watering every few days and some sunlight. Plants are good, easier to get along with than people, and easier to take care of too. If only I could go back to water it. It's my connection to the real world, the only thing I care about. My arms suddenly ached, and I snapped back to reality, realizing Wendy was pinching my arm. I'm talking to you, sure, and the people I care about here. It seems like there are more and more, the baby in my belly. My dearly beloved Lucas, and also, my good friends, Wendy and Charles. Will succulents die if you don't water them? I asked Wendy. Duh, all plants will die without water. Lucas then handed me half an apple. Want to grow succulents? I'll have the butler clean up the greenhouse and pick out some potted succulents for you. I nodded absent-mindedly. I'll hire someone specifically to take care of it. Don't worry about it wilting. Okay, after Lucas recovered from his injuries. He spent every day with Charles. What are those two whispering about every day? Wendy, holding a bunch of grapes and eating them, said, they're planning the wedding, 2 identical weddings. Wendy glared at me. What nonsense are you talking about? Of course we'll have them together. You don't want to have it with me. She was about to pinch my arm again. I think so. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. Who hasn't dreamed of wearing wedding dresses together with their best friends and having a joint wedding, to marry the ones they love, surrounded by the blessings of family and friends? I just never thought I could actually have all of this. Not only that, but Wendy and I also entered the delivery room at the same time. We both silently nibbled on chocolate, enduring the contractions as best we could. Meanwhile, Lucas and Charles were as frantic as ants on a hot pan, in the next delivery room. Another mother-to-be wailed incessantly from the pain, while the doctors and nurses sternly insisted she eat something. Lucas was terrified, his eyes reddened. I regretted a bit. If the pain gets too much, we'll get a painkiller shot. If I'd known it would be this torturous, I would have let you have an abortion. We don't need the baby anymore. I calmly touched his face and comforted him. Abortion is painful too. I'm fine now. Don't worry. He lowered his head in silence. As if making a firm decision, he looked at me with determination and said, once I've taken care of you and you're discharged, I'll go get a vasectomy. I won't let you suffer again. Take Charles with you, Wendy added from the side. Wendy and I were wheeled out of the delivery room at the same time, and the nurses handed the babies to them respectively. At first glance, they both exclaimed in unison, was there a mix-up? They exchanged glances. Good. Equally unattractive, and sighed simultaneously. Grandma was delighted. All newborns look a bit funny at first, but they'll grow into their looks soon enough. In this world, the people I care about are all vibrant and alive. They, in turn, have helped reshape me into someone vibrant and alive again, ever since I finished my postpartum confinement. Lucas has been especially clingy toward me, always loves to reminisce about the past with me, told me it was because he saw me skipping class and climbing over the wall that he chased after me on his bike, relieved to find out I wasn't dating a troublemaker, just looking for Wendy, didn't notice in time and ended up crashing into us. He even said he received a love letter I wrote. A love letter? What love letter? How could I possibly write something like that? He took it out and showed me. Damn. Isn't this the one I wrote in someone else's tone to Charles, where I subtly criticized Wendy for being petty? I was copying so enthusiastically that I forgot to write my name. There's no sender or recipient name on this. How do you know I wrote it to you? I saw you put it on my seat, he said, looking at me with sparkling eyes. Huh, how awkward. I thought that was Charles's seat. They forgot that their class changes seats every week, Jenny, last year after every gathering and banquet. You would book a hotel room. Was it to arrange a chance encounter with me, to practice? My hand holding the cup froze. That wasn't practice. It's always successful every time, but every time, I give up, not because I fear death, but because I don't want to hurt them. I've grown attached to a succulent I've only had for 10 days, let alone someone I've known for decades. Even though I know the protagonist's immortality rule, I still couldn't bear to watch Wendy get hit by a car. Even if it doesn't kill her, the aftermath of a car accident can last a lifetime. The few words in the book that never mentioned were the rest of their lives lived earnestly. I held Lucas's face and kissed him. You found out. I still think about that pot of succulent I had just brought home not long ago. I don't know if it has already withered. Lucas never breaks his promises. And I was discharged from the maternity center to return home. I found the greenhouse in the yard filled with succulent potted plants. The hired gardener was tending to them inside. I tried to find the exact same succulent in there. That variety is quite common. There were several pots on the shelf, but all their flowers were orange, while the one I bought had only one small white flower. I asked her with some confusion, "Does this variety bloom with small white flowers?" "Of course not. Flowers of this variety are all orange. The white-flowered ones you mentioned are usually fake. Many unscrupulous vendors make fake succulents out of plastic and stick a fake flower on top to sell them more easily." What? The succulent I've been meticulously caring for and talking to every day is actually a plastic pot. Fortunately, it's fake. At least it won't wither. Extra, Lucas's perspective. Since I was 4 years old and could remember things, I've had someone I liked. 2-year-old Jenny came to my house as a guest and always sat quietly without making a fuss. Even if I accidentally knocked her over, she would only say in a muffled voice, "It's okay," unlike my cousin Wendy, who followed me around demanding I play with her. So annoying. I told Grandma that I would marry my sister when I grew up. Grandma said a person can only marry one person in their lifetime, and once it's decided, it can't be changed. I never thought about changing it. Later, my sister grew up and played with Wendy every day, never coming to my house anymore. Grandma says girls always prefer playing with other girls. Wendy knows I have a crush on her and says I'm delusional, that I'm not good enough for her best friend. She's just afraid I'll steal her friend. By high school, I thought my little sister had long forgotten about me. I've received many love letters, and each time I've been disappointed because they weren't from her. What's even harder to understand is why these girls would send love letters to me and also to Charles. Who do they actually like? Why do they have to like two people at the same time? It's not like they can marry both in the future. I never expected my sister to actually send me a love letter. I understand why she pretended to forget me. She must have been afraid of Wendy getting angry. She's right. Wendy is indeed petty. Jenny has grown up and become much livelier. She seems to know that Charles likes Wendy. Every day, she tries every possible way to bring them together, and occasionally creates obstacles for them. Perhaps she hopes their relationship will grow stronger. That day, I suddenly noticed her skipping class by climbing over the wall. My alarm bells went off. In my impression, only delinquents skip school. She couldn't have picked up bad habits from those troublemakers, could she? She ran incredibly fast. I had no choice but to chase after her on my bike. I realized she was going to see Wendy. I lowered my head and sighed in relief. Learning from Wendy couldn't be that bad. When I looked up again, I had already run into them. That was the first time I felt my head so heavy, as if my body wasn't mine anymore. Dimly, I heard her calling me. With great effort, I opened my eyes. Above the deep well opening was the blinding sun and her hazy silhouette. She was too far away. I was so exhausted. I had no strength to speak. I thought she would turn around to find an adult. Unexpectedly, she jumped right down and even hugged me, so small and thin, yet she managed to lift me up and help me climb out of the well. Before I passed out, all I saw was her leg bleeding profusely, thinking, I hope she doesn't end up lame. It's okay to be lame. I can push her wheelchair to take her anywhere. I've been very annoyed lately. Wendy and Charles got engaged. Jenny seems to have some strange habit. After every banquet, she books a room at a nearby hotel. Though I've had people stake out the place, she either doesn't show up at all or stays there alone the entire night. When my secretary informed me that Miss Jenny had booked a room for the 7th time, I couldn't hold back anymore. I decided to go and see what kind of mysterious ritual this was. Could she have attracted some sinister romantic attention? When I opened the door, the way she sprang up from the bed was adorable. Her frightened expression and flustered attempts to explain were utterly captivating. This is getting interesting. Both of them are already engaged. I'm still performing a solo act. I've been unwilling to accept this for a long time. Now that there's an opportunity, I'll take the initiative to show myself. But the drug in the red wine was way too strong. I didn't wake up until nightfall the next day. She went missing. Wendy said I stole her best friend and told me to get lost. She went to the hospital. Turns out she's pregnant. it's our baby. I was there looking up baby names, and she actually ran away. Do you really not want to have a baby with me that much? She's also a bit naive. The US and Denmark banned abortions last year. I want to talk to her in person. It's fine if she doesn't want the baby. Running all over the world is too hard on the body, but she was too nervous. She ran away as soon as I got close. Wendy said I should be more formal. I prepared a 3-day proposal ceremony. I thought if she found it, she must like me. She really found it, but then she ran away again. Wendy said I scared her. I don't want her running around while pregnant. After returning to China, she experienced severe pregnancy symptoms and should rest properly. I don't know if she doesn't want to have this baby because she doesn't like me. Wendy said if she gets angry, it means she likes me. Teach me to take dating photos with female celebrities. If she gets angry after seeing the reports, it means she likes me. I think it's a terrible idea, but I can't think of a better solution. I've decided to give it a try. I told you it was a terrible idea. Jenny was so angry she wanted to induce labor. Inducing labor is really harmful to the body. I was so scared that I rushed out to the hospital. Got into a car accident. Jenny came back. Breaking a rib was totally worth it. That day I had a nightmare. In the dream, Wendy and I were having a huge fight at some doorway. She kept crying and yelling at me. Do you think you're the only one suffering? I lost my best friend. I don't care about the truth at all, or any gossip. I just want her to still be here. What did I do wrong? What do you have to be so desperate about? I didn't want to listen to her anymore and was about to drive away. She was chasing after me, cursing at me. Are you crazy? It's late at night, raining. And you're still chasing the car. But the palpitations in my dream jolted me awake with pain. I reached out to hold Jenny close and gently touched her belly. Wendy is so noisy, even in dreams. Charles doesn't even mind her noise. They must be true love. Childbirth is too cruel. Fortunately, Jenny didn't suffer that much pain. She's willing to have a baby for me. She truly loves me, 10,000 times more than I love her. Jenny is always talking about succulents and watering them, muttering in dreams. And often chatting with Wendy about it in daily life. Seems like something very important. I helped her raise a greenhouse full of succulents. After giving birth to the baby, she went to take a look. When she returned, it was as if a weight had been lifted. She hugged me and said, "Thank you for the succulent pot you gave me. It's okay if it withers." After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.